that so people can record it. Okay, so today I just want to start off by explaining to you the importance of rebuilding your credit. That's why you're all listening today. Now, most people who are listening today will have filed a consumer proposal, or they'll file for bankruptcy and have been discharged, and they want to rebuild their credit now. And that's very important so that you can qualify for low interest loans in the future, car loans and mortgages, etc. So if we're rebuilding credit, the first thing that we have to think about is that we need to build a good credit history, okay? So to simplify this, the factor that most influences your credit score, which you're trying to rebuild, is your credit history. So just remember that. Your credit history is your record of payments, and it's saying, are you paying on time? Have you missed any payments? Have you got any collection agents chasing you? Have you got any judgments on your record? These things are all your history. And basically, if you're paying all your debts on time each month, you're making the minimum, at least the minimum required monthly payment, and you're not missing any payments, then that will mean that you will have a good payment history and your score will go up. So, question is, where is your credit history reported? And it's reported on your credit bureau. And if you look at the screen, the two credit bureaus are Equifax and TransUnion. That's the two there. Equifax and TransUnion. These are credit bureaus, and they record your history. And creditors, like if you have an RBC Visa card, each month that you make a payment to that, it will record both on the TransUnion Credit Bureau and the Equifax Credit Bureau. Okay. Now, the problem you all have just now is that the only thing on your credit bureau is the fact that you filed a consumer proposal. Now, if you don't do anything between now and when you pay your proposal off, the only thing that will be on your bureau is that consumer proposal. And if you go for a loan at any time between now and then, creditors are not going to lend you money because there's no good history. The only thing they can see when they inspect your credit bureau is the consumer proposal. So we need to put some good history on your credit bureau. That's the first thing that we need to do. And we need to get the correct information on your credit bureau. Your credit score, or your FICO score, we'll call it your credit score, is calculated using only the information on your credit bureau. So if the information on your credit bureau is either wrong and incorrect, or if the history is not good on it, your score will be low. So that's the only thing we need to fix here is your credit bureaus, and that will also affect your score. Okay, so let's look at the first part here. I'm going to jump to point number 4 on your screen and point number 5. Now you will have these documents I'm showing on screen. You will have been sent them earlier from me. So don't worry about taking notes here. Point number 4. This is going to advise you to request a credit report, okay, from Equifax. And you just go to that website as detailed and you request a credit report. Also, what you do is you go to the TransUnion website, that's point number 5, and you request a credit report there. You'll then have 2 credit reports. And these reports will tell you what debts you've got, and it will tell you anything that you've done in the past. For example, filing a consumer proposal will also be there, or it should be there. Now, if you've just filed a consumer proposal, or you have done in the past, you want to check that that is recorded on your credit bureau. Because if it's not, your credit bureau will be incorrect. It will be reporting that you've got bad debts, and it will not be reporting that you filed a consumer proposal to try and get rid of these debts. So we need to check these credit reports, and that's why point number 4 and 5 asks you to request a credit report. When you get your report, go to point number 6 here. Check words included in consumer proposal. That should be written under each debt in your report. If it's not, you need to send off a correction sheet to say, listen, I filed a consumer proposal, please record this on my credit bureau. Okay, so that's the first thing you need to do. This should be done about 3 months after your consumer proposal has been accepted, or 3 months after you were discharged from your bankruptcy. Give it 3 months, because it does take them a while to get that done, okay? And I have some guidance notes, and I've sent you some guidance notes telling you how to do that, okay? And I'll just open this file up. You will have this forum. If you don't, you can ask me for it. But what it is, it's this one here called Right to Equifax and TransUnion. And I'll just show it on the screen now. I'm not going to go through it because it goes through step by step how to write to Equifax, get your report, tells you what to look for, and it tells you how to correct it. That's what this is all about. So do read that document which I've sent you, telling you how to write to your credit bureaus, Equifax and TransUnion, and how to get them, how to get them updated. So that's what that document is. So, in summary, this first step was fix your credit bureaus, get it reporting correctly, so that it can start scoring correctly when a credit score is checked against it. Okay, so remember, these reports will determine your credit score. Now I'm going to jump back to point number 1 on this sheet, and it tells you to apply for a secured People's Trust credit card. And the second point says apply for an unsecured affinity card. Okay, or a firm. Actually, it's called a firm. It should be a firm affinity card. Now, why is it asking you to do that? The reason it's asking you to do that is we need to try and get some credit instruments reporting to your bureau so that you're getting good positive history on your credit bureau. That's key. Okay, so how do you do that? You need to first of all get these 2 credit instruments, 2 credit cards. Now, you will have bad credit to start with. So point number 1 is apply for a secured People's Trust credit card. What that is it's a card where you put $500 down as a deposit, and you can spend up to $500. And as soon as you start using this credit card, it will start reporting to your bureau, and it will start increasing your score. We also ask you to apply for an unsecured affinity card, and I'll just add in there that it's an affirm, just so you're not confused, affirm card rather than affinity. It's an unsecured affirm card, and that is actually, there's an application form in the documents that I sent you, so you will have that in your information pack. Now that's unsecured. That means you don't have to send them any money. You just apply for the card, and they will send you an unsecured credit card with a $1,000 limit without any deposit. So that's, you now got 2 credit cards. And to be honest with you here, if you just use these 2 cards for the next year and keep on making the payments on time, that will start to increase your credit score. Okay? So that in itself is a great starting point. So remember that. And what I've put down here, further down on your notes here on the screen, I've put a little item here, credit card use. So do follow this when you're using the credit cards, and this will accelerate your credit score increase. First point is pay off the full balance at the end of the month. Two reasons. If you pay off the full balance at the end of the month, your score will increase faster because they like to see you being well away from the limit, the allowable limit on your card, okay? So always pay off the full balance so it's sitting at zero as long as possible. The other reason for this is that it will actually stop you from incurring interest. If you carry a balance on to next month, you're going to be paying interest on your credit card and it gets expensive. Point number two, do not use more than a third of the available credit. Let me explain that. If the limit on your card is, for example, $900, then do not spend more than $300 on that card. Keep the balance below a third of that limit. So that's $300 in that case. By doing that, you will keep your score to a maximum. You will increase your score quickly if you limit your use to a third of the available credit. So do follow that rule. And the other one for future is don't close old credit card accounts, because the creditors like to see old accounts on your credit bureau, because it shows that you can keep a credit instrument for a long time because you're able to responsibly service that account and keep it up to date. So they like to see old accounts on your credit bureau. So don't close down old ones, as it will reduce your score slightly. Okay. Other things I've got down here, I've got the link for the secured credit card. So there you are, www.peoplestrust.com. You just click that link or paste it into your browser and you'll be taken to the application form for People's Trust. The other application for the Affirm card, and that's the unsecured one, is in the information pack that I sent you, okay? Now, there's another important point down here I want to really outline to you, okay? And this is a thing to remember. The two most important things to remember from this webinar today is, number one, to increase your score, you need a good credit history. To get a good credit history, you need to have credit instruments such as credit cards, lines of credit, car loans, reporting to your credit bureau. The other factors to remember are creditors like the rule of two. What is the rule of two? Well, they like to see you with two credit lines. So a credit line could be a credit card, it could be a car loan, it could be an unsecured loan, a personal loan, any number of things. That's what a credit line is. They like to see you having two of them. So you're already started. You've got two credit cards. They like to see you having that for 2 years. Okay, so they want to be 2 years old. So start as soon as you can so they become 2 years old as soon as possible. And they like to see the available credit being $2,000 for each credit line. So for example, eventually you'd like your credit card to have an available limit of $2,000 on each credit card. It will take you time to build up to that. Don't worry. Your score will still be increasing as you're using the card. Eventually you'll get a limit of $2,000 and that will even make things better, okay? So that's the rule 2 of 2. And I've already outlined down here your credit history, very important. You want different types of credit. So you've got 2 credit cards, very good, but they're only credit cards. You want to try and get other types of credit, and I'll outline these above in a minute. And you want more than 2 if possible. If you can get 3 credit lines, even better. If you can get 4 credit lines, even better. If you get up to 10 credit lines, that's just getting silly and it doesn't make any difference, okay? So 2 or 4 credit lines is ideal. So how do we achieve these things? So going back up to the top here. What we've got here is point number 6 we've already covered. That's about updating your credit report. Point number 7, update After the report is updated, visit websites and request your credit score. Okay, so this is the next point you want to do before we go any further, okay? It says that you should go to the credit bureau websites. So looking at this, that's equifax.ca and transunion.ca, either or, and request your credit score. Because you want to know what your score is now before you start doing all this work. And then 6 or 12 months afterwards, you want to check your credit score to see if all your good work is having any effect. If you don't check your credit score, you'll not know where you're going, you'll soon lose interest and you won't do anything. So do check that credit score from the website. It'll most likely be about 500. We want to get you up to 650 within 2 years. So that's point number 7. Point number 8, consider a car loan and proposal insurance or an RSP loan. Why are we asking you to do this? Well, we want you to have different types of credit. So you've got the 2 credit cards. It would be nice if you got another one. A car loan, ideal, okay? That would really help you build your credit. But do not get a car loan just to build your credit up. Really doesn't make any sense. So if you don't need a new car, what's the other thing you could do? Well, if you're fortunate enough to be a 4 Pillars client, you can apply for proposal insurance. What this proposal insurance does is it reports to your credit bureau as a loan, and it helps you to build your score. It's another type of credit. So that brings you up to 3 credit lines, and that is ideal. So if you don't have proposal insurance and you want it, send me an email afterwards. We may be able to get it. What it also does is if you lose your job, it keeps on paying your proposal. The other thing that you could consider is an RSP loan, where you borrow money, put it into an RSP, get a possible tax refund, but also the RSP loan reports to your credit bureau, and that's another thing which you can do, okay? So I've just outlined another 3 types of credit there you could apply for. If you can at least do one of these, then that will help you even further to rebuild your credit. Now I've just put a little note here, say $500, this is point number 9, say $500 and increase the limit on your secured credit card to $1,000. You've already got a $500 limit on it. I would try over the course of a year to increase that to $1,000. A $1,000 limit reporting to your credit bureau is far better than a $500 one. So try and do that if you can, okay? And then what it says is point number 10. It's worthwhile contacting me after 6 months just to have a check-in as to how you're getting on and has your score increased or not. And we can see where you've gone with this score. If it hasn't improved, we can look at different strategies to improve it. After 12 months, check your credit score, see what it is, get encouraged, watch it improve. You'll be up at 650 eventually. Now, after another 12 months, now these time frames are approximate, whatever suits you. You could consider, if you're struggling to get a 3rd credit line, after a year, you might consider another secured credit card, okay, such as Home Trust. And it'd be nice to get that reporting to your bureau as well if you've only got 2 credit lines reporting so far. And then it just talks about checking your credit score again after another 6 or 12 months. After 18 months, hopefully your score will be about 650. If it is, you can then apply for a store card such as Canadian Tire or Best Buy or Sears. These store cards can certainly impact your credit score even more and build up your score even faster. But wait until your score is above 650, because if you apply for a card before that and you're rejected, your score will go down slightly. So do check your score first, and if it's above 650, it's likely you'll be approved. And what I would do is point number 15, after 2 years of rebuilding credit, apply for a normal credit card. And if you get that, you're back on track. Now you qualify for loans, okay? And check in with 4 pillars each time before you apply for a new credit, because we just want to keep an eye on what you're doing, okay? Now, the other thing I want to talk to you very briefly about today, because I did say it'd only be 20 minutes, is a very quick way of rebuilding your credit is to pay off your consumer proposal, okay? Now, how do you pay off your proposal? Well, we can actually lend you money to pay off. As soon as it's paid off, that reports to your credit bureau and your score should jump about 50 points, which is great. A year after that, you should jump another 50 points, and lo and behold, you've increased your score by about 100 points. That should be possible, okay? And this is called a Phoenix loan. If you're interested in that, just give me a shout and we'd get an application form for you. You could fill it in, get qualified for the loan, pay off your consumer proposal, and your credit's going to jump much faster. Okay, that's the Phoenix loan. So if you're interested in that, do talk to me or send me an email after this webinar is completed, okay? So that is a summary of the things you need to do to rebuild your credit. Do look at this sheet on the screen just now. Follow the points on the screen. Look at the other information that I sent you. And if you don't have any of it, just send me an email and I'll send it to you. And if you stick to this plan, you will rebuild your credit. Don't hesitate to email me at any time saying, hey, I don't understand this, or how do I do that? You're a client of 4 pillars, so you get the support you need, and you've got to use us to help you, okay? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to unmute all of your microphones, okay? And then if you have any questions, you can ask away for the next couple of minutes. And if you're all fine, that's good. But if you do have any questions, please do ask me just now. I take it you all managed to hear the webinar then. Did you all manage to hear what I was saying and you could see the information on screen? Yeah, I can hear you, so I take it you can hear me. Don't be shy. Is anyone any questions at all to ask? Anything you're unsure of? No questions. Okay. And okay. Can you all just confirm you did hear me? A couple of yeses, yeah? You did hear me? Yeah?
Yeah, yes.
You did. Good. I like to hear that. I just like to make sure I haven't been talking to myself. So that's good. So
everything's clear for me, Peter.
It's all good. That's great. Yeah. Listen, I am available afterwards, okay? So if any of you have any questions during this, just work your way through it and don't hesitate to send me an email to ask questions, okay?
Yes, I will.
Thank you all for attending the meeting. That was a good turnout. There's about 5 or 6 of you there, so that's great. You're all going to go forward in leaps and bounds. And have a good evening.
Thank you. This is really appreciate what you're doing. Thank you.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. And, just reach out anytime you need help, okay?
I will. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you all very much. And have a nice
you're welcome. Yeah, thank you. Bye now.
Bye-bye now. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, thank you.